Good evening and welcome to another edition of Choose to Challenge. I am LaWanna Bradford, principal of the Bradford Group, as well as Chief Operating Officer of the Bradford Group Consulting. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time on E360 TV and on our other streaming platforms, welcome, welcome. Choose to Challenge is a platform that is designed to help inspire, elevate, and empower women throughout all walks of life to elevate and achieve the best and highest version of themselves. We believe that in order to do so, sometimes we have to break through those barriers, whether they're institutional barriers, societal barriers, even mindset barriers that we have in order to be the person that we were intended to be. We often hear people say we want to be the change that we want to see in the world. Well, in order to do that, you have to be willing to show up. Sometimes you have to be willing to challenge what's there. And sometimes you have to be willing to change the narrative. And that's what this platform is about. And I'm excited because we do have a special guest who will be joining us soon. She's experiencing some technical difficulties, but we're just going to talk a little bit about what this platform is going to be today. And the title is Reach One, Teach One, and Be the Change You Want to See with Dr. Marie Adamson-Lewis. And one of the things that we see when we are from more developed nations is we can get a little comfortable in where we are or the opportunities that are provided to us. But even in your developed countries, there are those who are still experiencing discrimination, lack of access, feelings of being marginalized or actually being marginalized, not being considered when certain policies and guidelines are being placed at the table. But when we cross outside of this country, and I'm coming at you from the United States, there are so many others that are out there that are seeking the same rights, freedoms, privileges, sustainable communities that we have here. And when we're talking about improving the globe, improving humanity, it's going to take us collectively to shift our thinking, shift how we engage, shift how we show up, even changing how we place our demands at the table. And one of the things that Dr. Marie Adamson Lewis will be talking to us about is the work that she's doing in the Jamaica diaspora. And I want us to just pause for a minute and think about how so many of us hear about opportunities. We hear about charities that are out there that we can give into. But what if we do something more than just pour money in? What if we take our talents, our resources, our networks, and we show up in a mighty way to actually teach, to train, to create incubators, if you will, within different areas around the globe to afford individuals who may be less fortunate than other developed nations, to afford them the same opportunities to grow, to expand, and to be all that they truly can be. Sometimes those of us from different countries, we forget from where we came, and we forget that there is a journey, and that the journey requires sometimes literally the shedding of blood, but it requires a dedication and commitment of those who have a vision for change, those who are willing to raise their hands and say, here I am, choose me, let me lead this cause, let me champion this effort because I believe in change. I want to create opportunity so that everyone at the table has the same opportunity. I see Dr. Marie. We just lost her. She was in for a moment. Hopefully she will be back so we can dig a little deeper into this topic. Now, the United Nations has a 17 pillar platform, 17 sustainable goals, because they realize that we need to globally, if we want to make improvement, if we want to have sustainability, if we want to protect our planet, it's going to require nations to come together to have the conversations, to talk about the challenges that others are having and the opportunities that may be had in other areas, and how can these shared experiences help to create a better world. Yes, Dr. Marie Adams is in the house. I'm so excited. I'm getting ready to bring her up. I want to step aside for a moment. Here she is. How is it going?
Good evening, Queen. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining me. I know this was one of the things I love about Choose the Challenge. Opportunities pop up, and if there
Yes.
is a way to get individuals celebrated and spotlighted on this platform, I just pick up the phone and say, "What are you doing?" And so, and you
A
said
queen.
yes. So thank you so
Ah,
much. And
yes.
I want to tell the audience a little bit about just the amazing work that you have done, that you are doing. Dr. Rose Marie she's a trailblazer. She is not only here in the US, but she's reaching across from her home country of Jamaica to say, wait a minute, I've had opportunities here. I've been blessed here. Now, how can I join in partnership and create opportunity and scalability for my country, right? And she is creating opportunities for growth and sustainability. She's looking at how can we create economies of scale for all genders, especially when we're looking at our young girls coming up and in their involvement within STEAM, your science, your technology, your engineering, your arts, and your math. What can we do? How can we broaden that reach, create an awareness, and open those doors of opportunity? She is a board certified healthcare provider. She has actually an expert in mental health disorders, which we know with what we've experienced in the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
so many who we didn't think had mental health concerns now are coming out of the pandemic with that. And this isn't just an American issue, it's a global concern. We're calling it the second pandemic. And I love the fact that we have a woman of color who's in that space, because there's not many of us out there when it comes to seeking help for individuals who look like us. So we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
She's an associate professor. She has a background in pathophysiology as well as pharmacology. She is a treasurer for the Jamaica Diaspora Association Board and the president of the Jamaican Diaspora Southern US Coalition. And she's running for office, but we'll get into that too. So, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. You are a queen in your own right. You remind me so much of the biblical Esther.
Oh, thank
Such
you.
great. Thank you for having me. Yes.
Thank you. So, I want to ask you, Dr. Rose, what we hear a lot of conversation about, um, our the communities of color around the world and individuals reaching across to say, I can help. And I started the show by talking about what the UN is doing and the 17 sustainable initiatives that are out there, the sustainable goals. Why now do you think the world is rallying around the conversations of inclusion, equity, and sustainability? And why is that so important to you? And we just lost Dr. Rose, and she will be back. And we're going to talk about her feelings in that area. I don't know what is going on with technology. And it's interesting when a message needs to get out, invariably there's always these hiccups, but it's not going to stop us. I want to welcome you for joining us, our listening audience. Yes, I agree. She is an amazing trailblazer, and that's why I'm so excited about this show. I want to hear her perspective and the work that she's doing. I apologize, my phone is ringing. This has been one amazing day. But I hope she is able to get back on. And if not, what we are going to do, what she and I will end up doing, is doing a separate recording and bringing this show back up because it's definitely needed. And I will, for those of you on E360 TV, make sure that that this recording will be replaced with a new one if we're not able to get Dr. Rose back in the house. And so we do apologize for that. And you all know how technology is. But when we talk about creating sustainability, it's a conversation that everyone from all backgrounds, all ethnicities, all genders, all cultures need to have. Because when we're talking about sustainability, it's not okay for one group of individuals to be okay. It's not okay for policies and laws to be legislated to benefit only one group. And she's back and we're bringing her in.
I'm not sure what the situation was,
It's
but the
okay. We're
devil
going to
is
make
a
it
liar.
work. And I was telling them, Dr. Rose, if for whatever reason it keeps popping in and out, you and I will do a separate recording. We'll see what your schedule is like so that it will replace this and we can
Yes,
make sure this message gets out because it is very important.
very important.
So were you able to hear the question?
No, I did not hear the question. You
Sure.
could just repeat that, please. Uh-huh.
Yes. So I was talking about how important it is, this discussion around diversity and inclusion, equity, accessibility,
Mm-hmm.
sustainability, um, and growth within our community,
Mm-hmm.
having those economies of scale. All nations are having this buzz. And I mentioned that with the United Nations, they have
Mm-hmm.
17 sustainable initiatives around
Right.
everything from poverty to climate control and
Mm-hmm.
everything in between. For you, why is this such a passion of yours? And what do you hope to achieve through your work? And what have you, what, let me rephrase it this way. How do you feel you're starting to move the needle?
First of all, I look at the broader picture that regardless of what the situation may be with individuals, together we are human beings. We have the same physiological needs. Like Maslow hierarchy of needs, first it is safety, it is comfort, it's knowing that someone loves you and cares about you. And until we can foster that, then no one else will listen to us. So that's where it comes from. What am I going to do to provide or to help to facilitate the basic needs? Food, sleep, shelter, a warm bed. So it's giving back, paying it forward. That's where we start.
I love that. And, you know, the fact that you brought up Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Uh-huh.
When we get to the basics,
Basics.
we are all the same. We're
All the
all
same.
needing the exact same thing,
Yes.
right? But here in the US, especially of late, and I would say since President Biden, a year ago, actually, in June
Mm-hmm.
of 2021, signed an executive order saying that the federal government will now ensure that it is not only doing its work, but it's looking to hire a workforce that's representative of the community that it serves. It's looking to um, deploy initiatives that are diverse, that are equitable, that are inclusive,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
foster a feeling of belonging, and that are accessible. And I sat and I thought about this, Dr. Rose. I thought, well, that's great, you know. And when we look at the history of this country, I mean, from Frederick Douglass, even before Frederick Douglass, and coming
Mm-hmm.
forward in the civil rights, it's like, okay, this isn't a new thing. We've just kind of added more letters to the acronym, right?
Yes.
But we know that without the change of heart, without people being seen and heard, we can legislate all day long, but change doesn't necessarily occur. Can you talk a little bit about that, and especially give us some insight on what's happening in Jamaica?
Before I even answer that, I am looking at the aspect where President Biden is trying to create commonality. He's trying to show the world that the basic human need is something that is experienced among all of us, regardless of our race, color, creed, ethnicity, the way we were brought up, the way things are now. We are in a melting pot where we're going through similar concerns: the economy, health, global warming, all of those that are taken into consideration. So we have to get ourselves into a place, into the common space where we know that the basic human right, it is concentrated among all. And
Yeah, I
for
love that.
us to, yes, for us to understand that, we first have to see each other as human, that we have the same basic right, which is a privilege to live, just the basic right. Now, when we talk about Jamaica, Jamaica is referred to as a third world country. But let me say that depend on what an individual idea or understanding is of third world. The quote unquote third world then was viewed that a place where there's not electric light, running water. No, that's not what it is. I would like some of us to go to Jamaica because we have both ends. We have the low ends and we have the middle. Well, actually, three: the low, the middle, and the very high. So, what happens in Jamaica is that those people who are impoverished and they are at the bottom of the totem pole, those are the ones who you would see get reported most. It's just the facts. So, there is a gap. There is a gap. And in Jamaica, overall, our biggest setback now is crime. I mean, crime is everywhere else, but we have to face the fact it's crime. And so we could also use better health care. So those are two of our voids now that we're trying in the diaspora to give back and to find ways and means to bring on new initiative to foster those areas so that we can make them better. And that's why I am running for the post that I'm running for. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, and we'll definitely give you the opportunity to tell more about this position that you were running for. And
Yes.
I was listening to what you said. You came up with two things that are challenging Jamaica right now:
Mm-hmm.
crime and healthcare.
Yes.
My oh my, does that not sound like the United States?
Mm-hmm. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and
Yes.
so for certain countries to think, well, you know, no, we have everything together. No, we don't. But together, you know, through shared resources, through exchange networks, we can
Mm-hmm.
create improvement. And I truly believe, Dr. Rose, that if we can change and improve the life of one or the life of one family, we've
Mm-hmm.
influenced and impacted the next generation. And so many
Yes.
people think, well, I can't do, you know, I'm just one person. What can I do? Well, if you can shift a mindset, if you can open up a door of opportunity, if you can help to provide education and awareness, because sometimes we don't know what we don't know,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think especially within our communities of color, there are so many educational opportunities, but you don't know how to bridge from where you are to how to get there. Whether it's grants, different scholarship programs, that go far beyond what your high school is giving you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know within when I was reading some of your information, education is one of the things that you are fighting for within
Yes.
Jamaica. And I know a mutual friend of ours, Marva. She and I we shared a lot of
Yeah.
information. Marva Riley, who's an RN and a holistic health practitioner. Um,
Yes. Wonderful person.
and it's interesting because when she showcases her country, it's the beauty of it, it's the wholeness of it, the wholesomeness of it, it's family centricity. I mean, it's I when I see it through her eyes, it's like, oh my gosh, why isn't everybody living in Jamaica? Because it's a different, it's an easier lifestyle. And
Yes.
when you
Laid back.
look right, and when you compare
Um,
longevity, it's when in your more laid back countries, people are living longer.
mm-hmm.
They're healthier. The
More
family
than.
units are more cohesive. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's
Mm-hmm.
lessons we can learn from these quote unquote third world nations.
Well, I am going to be a little bit biased, but it's okay. But in the beautiful mountains of Jamaica, we have the fresh air, less pollution. We have organic food, the rivers, the water. So that makes a big difference. And when we were growing up as children, and our parents probably could not afford so much of the meat kind, so we were raised with a lot of vegetables and fruits. We thought we were poor, but we were doing the right thing. We were
Yes.
eating our vegetables. And also, based on our culture, not everyone at that time could afford a car. So our system was to walk
Mhm.
everywhere we go, right? Where we went. And
Yes.
so that was inculcated in us, that was molded in us, that walking was our best way of transportation. So that developed into us and developed and developed. And so we were like athletes, and so we build stamina, not just physical stamina, but
Yes.
psychological stamina. That our start point was walking, and it contributed to the health factor that we have got so accustomed to over the years. And it builds us. And we never really notice that difference really until you have migrated to another country, say for example the United States, and the lifestyle was different. Then you compare one with the other, and then you think, okay, we were doing the right thing as children, and it helped to build us and helped to build character. So that's where all of that comes from.
And I love that. And I want to just welcome our audience. We're here on Choose to Challenge with Dr. Marie Adamson-Lewis, and we are talking about reach one, teach one, and be the change you want to see. And
Mhm.
she is sharing with us about the work that she is doing here in the U.S. as well as in Jamaica to help create sustainability, open up opportunity, and create economic scale and growth
Uh-huh.
for
Mm-hmm.
those in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk a little bit more about this office that you're running for.
Okay.
Tell me what it is. Tell our audience what it is and why is it so important and how can we support you?
So I am running for the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council representative for the Southern United States. Many of us may have heard the word diaspora and may not understand what it means, or it never meant anything to you. I'm going to tell you now what diaspora means. Diaspora means it's a group of people who are not living into their place of birth. They're not living on their mainland. So Jamaican diaspora includes all Jamaicans who are not actually living in Jamaica. The highest concentration of Jamaicans over the world are in the UK, Canada, and the United States. Here in the United States, it is concentrated or divided into three main areas. There is the Midwest out there in California that is currently managed by Miss Shauna Chin, the Northeast, which would include places like New York, New Jersey, that is managed by Dr. Karen Dunkley, and here in the South, which is managed now by Dr. Alan Cunningham, but he's not seeking re-office in December, though that's why this position is open. So the southern states, it is region rather, it is consisted of 13 southern states. The 13 states are Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, North and South Carolina, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Tennessee, Texas, and New Mexico. So, for those 13 states, I am already the first sitting president for the Jamaica Diaspora Southern USA, JADIAS, which was formed by our sitting consul, Dr. Alan Cunningham. So I have been managing those 13 states already. So I am asking you, the fact that I am experienced and have been managing those 13 states among the state level, I am asking my Jamaican diaspora to send me to the global level so that I can speak directly to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and to advise them of the inclusiveness of us in the diaspora and Jamaica and to develop a deeper engagement so that I will be the liaison between the diaspora and there in Jamaica. And before I get any further, I just want us to be reminded that the amount of Jamaicans who are living in the diaspora is more than those who are living in Jamaica because the numbers of Jamaicans in the diaspora is 3.3 to 4.4 million, whereas our current population in Jamaica is 2.7 to 3 million. So can you imagine 4.4 million of us in the diaspora get together, what we can create in Jamaica, our homeland? That's why I want to take care of healthcare, crime, education, economy, and just to develop that awareness among us and take care of our little island, our little paradise on earth.
That is amazing. I had no idea that so many had migrated
Uh-huh.
away.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes. So go ahead. You have a question?
So when did you come to the U.S.? And as you mentioned, the UK, Canada, and the US have the largest populations of
Yeah.
Jamaicans outside.
Yeah,
Why did
I
you?
might go. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Go
No, no,
ahead.
no worries. How did you pick the US?
Well, when we were children growing up in Jamaica, the mainstay was England because we were British subjects.
Yes.
So folks from Jamaica traveled to England without needing a visa because we were British subjects. But in the 70s, the late 60s, 70s, remember now, America was the mainstay because remember when the peace treaty was signed, Geneva, Switzerland, America gave up their hand and say that we will take care of the world. That's why everyone wants to come to America. So at that time, we felt that America was paved with gold and that money was falling from the tree, and America the Great was America the Great. So hence, that's why the influx was
Okay.
coming to America. So it was that mental concept, that psychological belief that America, the melting pot, had everything. So that's why we came to America instead of going to England for opportunity, the land of opportunity. So that's Jamaica, United States. That's
Yes.
why we chose. Yeah.
Do
Hmm.
you find just in your experience that individuals who have immigrated to the US, let's say to come to school, actually go
Yeah.
back and then work in Jamaica? Or
Yes. Yes. That is the main reason that majority of Jamaicans migrate to the United States, because we were vying for a better life. And factually, in Jamaica at the time, it's either you work or you go to school. But then we learned that in the United States, you could do both. So we took care of that. We took that into consideration and we made the opportunity viable for us. However, though, Jamaica, we're from a culture where education is key. And when we were kids growing up, we could not skip school. If we were sick, lame, blind, deaf, or even dead, you had to go to school. So that was inculcated in us. So that is the premise on which we revere. This is the mindset we had. So when we came to the United States, our ambition was to make it. And the system that we started on, the foundation, educational foundation in Jamaica, is still very strong. It's from the British
okay.
system. So when we came to the United States and we saw opportunity, we took it and we ran with it. And so that's why you have so many Jamaicans are doing so well in the United States, because it was embedded in us already that this is how you're going to get through life, a good education.
Yeah, the one thing that I've noticed is those that I've met of Jamaican descent are, I like to say they really have grit. It's like if you have a vision and you have got this clarity of thought,
Mm-hmm.
it's like success. Just from those who I've met, it's like success isn't, it's inevitable, right? It's
Yes,
it's not
yes,
it's not optional. It's no, I'm going to do this. I don't care how much
yes.
time it takes.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen. And
Yes.
unfortunately, and I'm going to speak, to African Americans who've grown up in this country, and it's just not African Americans, children today who've been given so much
Mm-hmm.
that they come from a seat of expecting and like I deserve this, and the work
Mm-hmm.
ethic tends not to be there. It's like they're expecting this handout. And I know with my niece and nephew, they're 17 and my father's 92. There's a 75-year gap there in age.
Mm-hmm.
And we were spending the holidays together, and my dad was showing them, here they are, 17, juniors in high school. My dad was showing photos of him at 17 in the US Army. It's like, and they were like, why were you in the Army so early? It's like, because I graduated early and I was looking for a better life. And I
Yes.
knew that this was going to be the way at that time for me to get what I needed to get to use the GI Bill to go get
Mm-hmm.
my education, to then get my advanced degree. So he used the system to benefit him. And he was trying to tell them, don't think the world is just going to give you. But when
Yes.
you become
Entitlement.
aware, right? You become
Entitlement.
right, entitlement, exactly. But when you understand, and I love what you're saying, you're able to be that liaison. You understand how the system, how the processes work, how to translate, back and forth in order to create movement and opportunity. It's so critical. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I love. I mean, I didn't know that, honestly, that what you're doing even existed until I saw all of these promotions popping up on Facebook, and out of curiosity, because I'm an avid reader, I'm like, what is this? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, can I vote? And you're like, well, are you out? And I'm like, no,
Oh my goodness.
but I can get the word out. So even though I cannot vote as,
Yes.
representing, I can
Mm-hmm.
partner by leveraging my influence, my platform to let people know who may not know that this position is up for election, right?
Yeah. See, I thank you because this is how life works. There is good karma and there is bad karma. If you do bad, it comes back to you. And if you do good, it comes back to you. So here is my story. You asked me how long ago I have left Jamaica. 40 years. I
Mm.
have migrated from Jamaica 40 years, but I have never left Jamaica. I have gone back to Jamaica but prior to COVID 3, 4 times a year. My family and I, the children are born here. But we allow them to go there and to say, this is the place where your parents are from. My grandmother would say, where your navel string, the umbilical cord is tied to. Yes. So I would, yeah, we took the children and we allow them to be molded into their roots as to who they really are. And so this is the comes a strong affinity with Jamaica. So one of the years I visited and I looked at some people around me, we went to school together and I saw some of them looked a little bit older, much older than me. And some of them, their teeth were gone and it bothered me. And I came back and I figured, what is it that I could do? And I saw many people died for non-communicable diseases like heart attack, heart disease, kidney disease, diabetes. So I sat and I thought about it and I said, how can Rosemary help to fix this? So I partnered with Dr. Nuso out of Georgia. He's from Africa, but he's married to my cousin who is Jamaican. Yes. And I ventured with him on the first trip to Jamaica with the medical mission and
Mm.
every year after. Because when we took the medical mission there, we were able to educate people better. We were able to tell them how to eat healthier. And we were able to tell them how to do follow up. Go to the doctor, go to the practitioner and follow up. Don't do screening. Don't wait until you're sick. Then you know that something is brewing there that's inevitable. And if you did screening and early detection, is our best weapon. So, with that mindset and taking the mission back to Jamaica every year, I saw it made a difference. And people started to look at health from a different perspective. And we continued every year until COVID clipped our wings, but we are in full focus next year going back to Jamaica. And that's how I got started. Another area that I am trying to implement if I am elected to office, I am going to do this on a broad scale. However, I love my country so much that numerically, if I am not the one chosen by the people, I am still going to put forth those initiatives. And one of them is telehealth. During the COVID pandemic here in the United States, there were some folks that I was not seeing, and I wondered what happened to them. When I inquired, I realized that they were home because they had the COVID, and some of them were not working, and they could not go out and they could not facilitate themselves with their medication. And I said, God, you have given me many gifts, and I am going to do this, and I know you're going to come through for me. So, you know what I did? I started calling and I did the ethical and the right thing by register them to become my healthcare, for me to become their healthcare provider. So I did that. Yes, I did that. And I saw them through telehealth.
Mhm.
And some of the medications, I picked them up myself at the pharmacy and dropped them off at their homes. I have never written so many prescriptions for Z-Pack during that time in my entire years of practice. But I did it with love. I did it with God's grace, and that's what He wanted me to do. and I was able to make a lot of people feel better. And so this is what I want to advocate for Jamaica, for those people who have chronically ill diseases and the older folks, and they're immobile, they cannot go out, they cannot afford transportation. Rosemary wants to be that point of contact where I improve the stance more of telehealth, so more people will be seen and they will be in compliance with their health status. And if we do that, we minimize emergency room visits, and we will save lives, and people will have a healthier life. So that is my mission, and to use the virtual platform. And I am crossing that over into education, because I cannot take it for granted that when COVID happened and all those students, they were not able to be in class face to face. I cannot take it that all of them were privileged to a laptop. I can't do that. So I am advocating now that us in the diaspora, through our 501c3 organizations, that we provide them with the devices that they need. And I am trying to work with telecommunication services like Flow to get to the most remote areas, so that everyone will get a shot at it, and they will get their education, they will get their medical help, and they will not be the negative part of the statistics of society. That's what I want to advocate, giving back, touching my people. That's what I want to do.
I love that. I hear your passion. I hear your sincerity, and that's what it's all about. It's about taking our gifts, God given gifts and talents, and pouring it back,
Yes,
to others. And that's
yes,
where the reward comes. That's where the blessing
yes,
comes. To keep it
yes.
all selfishly, for what?
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yes.
no gain in that. But
No. Mm-mm.
it's just amazing that what you did saved lives.
Of course. Of
I
course.
mean,
And
that's
yeah,
wow.
of course, I am ready to go. I am ready to go. And that's why my nonprofit organization, Roses Garden of Hope Foundation, through my Roses Garden of Hope Foundation, I want little roses to be nurtured and watered and pruned and grow. Just like how this little rose from Malton, Robbins Hall, Manchester, that my teachers, my families, my community, they poured in me. And because they helped to pour in me, God has given me the ability to be who I am today. So there are many little roses starting from Malton, Robbins Hall, Manchester, and district one by one. Those little roses, I want to help to nurture them and let them grow to their God's fullest potential. And that's how I created that Roses Garden of Hope. Provide hope through health,
Yes.
through education, and to let them know that they have a seat at the table. My greatest power, Lady LaWanna, my greatest power is not to show anyone how I'm powerful. My greatest power is to pull the power that I see within that individual
I
and
love
to
it.
mentor them. And so that they become a better version of themselves. I want to leave them better tomorrow than I have found them today. That is my mission.
That's powerful, and
Mhm.
I love that you're willing to stand up, and
Yes, yes,
and it's a heavy lift.
yes.
It's a
It's a
big
heavy.
vision, but it's
Yes,
not impossible. It's
it's
not
not impossible.
impossible because you're being inspired and led by God,
Oh yeah.
and you're
Oh yeah.
partnering with, like you said, I mean, it's amazing. Over 4 million people in the
Yes.
Jamaican diaspora.
Uh-huh.
What amazing work can you all do? I mean, the momentum,
Yes.
it would
Yes.
just be remarkable,
Mm-hmm.
and can
Mm-hmm.
actually be an example for many others to follow and
Yes.
to emulate.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yes.
we are almost out of time. I'm going to show one commercial video, and
Yes.
then I will allow you to take 5 minutes or so and speak to the audience and tell them, not only those who can vote, how they can vote, But
Yes.
those who can't vote, how can we support?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
I'll let you take it away.
Okay. So, for you to get an opportunity to see what I have been doing over the years and why I deserve to be appointed to this office, I'm sending you to my website. My website is simple. It's my name, rosemarielewis.com. rosemarielewis.com. If you go to that website right now, you just scroll down where you see it says vote, no, register now, register now. So when you register, that will happen until the 30th of this month. Registration began the 10th and it's going through the 30th. On the 1st of December, in your email, because when you register, you will put your email in. So December 1st, you will get an email from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. And on December 2nd to the 19th, you will be able to vote for me. So it's rosemarielewis.com. rosemarielewis.com. So go there, register. You only have until 2 more days because it ends on the 30th. And after which you will get the ballot in your email from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade on December 1st, and you start voting December 2nd to the 19th. And I'm asking you humbly for your vote. I have been working in the diaspora. I understand the needs of the people. I am at the grassroots level. I contribute. I have done everything to make my Jamaicans here in the United States, all over the globe, in the diaspora, to make them proud. And I want to take that to our mainland, Jamaica. I love you. And if I have not spoken to you again, I wish you a very happy, peaceful, and lovable holiday. And I hope that you will be seeing me again into a different position. I'm vying for that position. So thank you so much. One love. Big up Jamaica, land we love.
I love that. So, to those of you who are able to vote of Jamaican heritage, please go to rosemarielewis.com. As she mentioned, have 2 more days to register so that you will receive the notification to be able to cast your vote December 2nd through December 19th. Be a part of this movement, ladies and gentlemen. Rosemary and others, they're serious. They're about affecting change.
Oh,
And you
yes.
don't have to do it alone. You've got leaders who are out there paving the way, being those trailblazers, helping to, as she mentioned, to be that liaison between
Yes.
the diaspora, the foreign ministries, and to bring solutions of hope medically, from an educational standpoint, economically, to
Crime.
Jamaica. Crime, right? Let's get
Yes.
rid of crime,
Yes.
and beyond. And that's so powerful. And I want to ask you this one question. You mentioned about your mission, your medical missions.
Yes.
Can other people join you on your missions?
Yes, of course, of course. And the more the merrier. And I am looking for donations in any way that can possible be materialized, whether it is medical equipment or clothing for some areas, uh, food. Well, not so much the food, not so much the food, but dry goods. If you have dry goods, because it is shipped there, but anything that you know that would help someone to be comforted in their situation, in their needs, in their wants. So I have pharmacies who assist me with medication as well. Yes, and Publix with dry foods, whatever it is, clothing, good clothing from all age groups, doesn't matter. Anything that you know that is required for the human being. Yeah. And before I go, I want to clarify that those who are eligible to vote are Jamaican born, or if you're living as Jamaican heritage in those 13 United States that I have mentioned. Yeah.
Okay. Can you mention those states again one more time?
Yeah, they're Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, North and South Carolina, Louisiana, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, and New Mexico. And if you go on my website, everything is laid out there nicely. And so if you if you're not eligible to vote, you must know a friend who is Jamaican in those states or from Jamaican heritage. Jamaican enough, them all over the place. Translation: Jamaicans are progressive people. They are concentrated all over the United States, and given the opportunity, we make use of it.
I love it. Thank you so much, Rosemary. This has been an amazing show, an
Yes,
enlightening
very good.
show.
That's
And I hope those of
yes.
you connect
Thank you so
with
much for
Dr.
that
Rosemary.
information.
Please vote and just be a part of the change. So, again, I want to say thank you so much for joining me. And to our listening audience, thank you for joining us for another special edition of Choose to Challenge. And just remember, in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. But you have to choose to challenge.
Process,
You have to,
yes.
you have to push
Yes.
the needle, push the envelope in order to move the needle. Yes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, Dr. Rosemary, blessings to you. I wish you all the best, and I'm looking forward to hearing a good report. And to our viewing audience, we will see you next time on another edition of Choose to Challenge.